All right, the deep dive for this is about the academic language centering around the term threshold. So we're going to do a little bit of a study and discussion. So you will need your regular notebook. So we have this paragraph from page 11. We have Cantrick would say that we stood on the threshold of life. And so it would seem we had as yet taken no root. The war swept us away. For the others, the older men, it is but an interruption. They're able to think beyond it. We, however, have been gripped by it and do not know what the end may be. We know only that in some strange and melancholy way we have become a wasteland. All the same, we are not often sad. So please take a moment. I want you to make a T-chart in your notebook. Another T-chart. I know it sounds like we do them all the time. But I want you to label it where on the left you've got younger men, and on the right you've got it titled older men. And I want you to use this paragraph to collect some information. And I've got the same directions for each side, and even giving you the first example. So feel free to write my example in your T-chart. But you're going to look at that paragraph, and I want you to copy down any kind of details or figurative language, and you can totally take it word for word. It's not considered cheating, where you see any kind of information that corresponds with that group of people. So when you're looking through this paragraph, any information or figurative language details that pertain to just the younger men, you're going to put over underneath younger men. So example I have for you is that stood on the threshold of life. That is in regards to younger men. Threshold is right there at the beginning of life. And then you've got older men. Same thing, you're looking for any kind of details or figurative language that describes or pertains to older men. And the example I have for you, and you can take it, is that war is but an interruption. For them, war is but an interruption. And you should see that in the paragraph. I will tell you that you should have more details in the younger men column than the older men. And I think in the older men, you might only be able to find one more, and that's okay. But I still want you to just kind of make sure that you've got information from that paragraph in each one. Looking at your T-chart, now that you have it completed, I want you to answer this question just right underneath your T-chart. So look at the information that's in your T-chart and answer this question. According to Paul, how do younger and older men experience the war differently? So it could be mental, physical, whatever. So what you have listed in your T-chart, make some assumptions, some generalities, but hopefully you should be able to use your evidence to come up with an idea or a sentence or two explaining how the younger men versus the older men experience war differently. Hopefully you've noticed that older men have experienced more life, so they know it isn't all there is to life. They can remember life before the war and know they have something to go back to when it's over. Younger men's lives have taken no root, meaning they're still new to the world and don't have a firm place. So they don't have a place where their family, they have family, but they don't have a place where they have built their family, expanded on, have a job, moved on. They're still young, they're experiencing life. You can even say that younger men are totally consumed by war because they haven't experienced anything else. These are kids, I'm going to call them kids, that have taken from school. Remember, like 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, they're still kids. They haven't gone beyond their school lives and experienced anything other than being surrounded by this war. And that older men are stripped away or gripped, as it's used in that text, because they have other things like families or farms that they're invested in. So they're not just invested in this war, they have something beyond it. All right, so take a moment. I want you to predict the meaning of threshold. I don't want you to add the definition because I have it coming up in a second. So take a moment, Predict what you think the word threshold means. All right, let's see how close you are. The definition for threshold is, we've got two of them: the sill underneath a door or doorway. And the second definition is the beginning of a new event, undertaking, or the like. So were you close? All right, answer this question underneath, that question you had just a moment ago. I want you to choose the definition of threshold. So which of the two that we've got listed here? Which definition of threshold that you believe is being used in the paragraph that we just read? So it's paragraph from page 11. And I want you to write 1 to 2 sentences that connect Cantrick's saying, "They stood on the threshold of life to the loss of innocence." What do you think that means? That this definition of threshold and how it's being used in the paragraph has a connection to what Cantrick says, that the Iron Youth stood on the threshold of life to the loss of innocence.